It is quite a persistent myth in public speaking that speakers are born rather than made. This misconception arises due to how eloquent many of the great speakers today are. From teachers, world leaders, professional speakers, they all seem to have that one element that sets them apart from the countless others. Many people attribute this simply to born talent rather than a skill that can be honed. But over the years of observation and practice, you'll come to notice that every great speaker, irregardless of their topic, their setting, even their speaking style, follow a very similar process. I've come to recognize this as the 5 P's of public speaking. So what are they? Well, the 5 P's are known as purpose, passion, preparation, practice, and performance. And it is this thought process that can turn any ordinary speech into a memorable and recognizable oration. So in this video, I want to break down each of the 5 elements of public speaking, explain how they can be applied, but more importantly, how they are relevant to your speaking journey. So let's start off with the very first P, purpose. Now, before anybody gives a speech, before they stand on that stage, before they sit in that interview, deliver that presentation, there comes a time when they are given that topic. Perhaps, if they're a student, they have to give a speech or presentation for a particular assignment or topic. Maybe for an interviewer, their communication arises for a specific candidate or individual. More importantly, our purpose should reflect the speech itself. Many of us may assume that recognizing the purpose of any speech is easy or within the words itself. But very often, when we sit down to write a speech or an oration, very often that purpose slips from our mind. Now, for some people, it comes naturally, but for many, me included, recognizing and reflecting that purpose within the speech is a difficult thing to do. What I find is that recognizing, but more importantly, noting your purpose when writing your speech often serves as a compass or a pipeline for you to begin drafting your speech around. For instance, if you are invited to deliver a brief speech regarding importance of presentation, well, you would write down that purpose within a document or piece of paper, jot down notes, statistics, anecdotes, anything that pertains to that topic, and therefore begin planning out your speech. By remembering purpose, you can prevent yourself from going off track and to deliver a resounding oration. Next up is the idea of passion. Every single individual on this planet has a passion, whether they recognize it or not. But the real question comes in reflecting that passion in your speech or oration, because oftentimes it's very difficult. When you're given a strict topic, it can sometimes be difficult to wind your passions within your oration. In fact, you may be thinking right now, is passion even relevant? The answer is yes. Your passion is who you are as an individual. While your speech shouldn't be entirely centered around yourself, whether it be necessary or not, there should be at least one anecdote, that touch of personality that gives your speech its unique identity. Because the truth is, one thing I've realized after listening to many speeches by world leaders and individuals, speeches are remembered for their personality rather than their content. This pertains to most speeches, whether you be giving an interview where you're more likely than not going to have to reflect your passions, or possibly a presentation where perhaps you share a brief story that pertains to your personality. The truth remains is that integrating your passion within the speech itself is the surest way to improve, but more importantly, make your ideas more memorable to the individual. The third P is preparation. Preparation is what we usually think about when we think about speech writing. In that Google Doc, opening your notebook, take out your pencil, and begin drafting. Speech writing itself is a unique field, as there isn't necessarily a one-size-fits-all for a public speech. However, by integrating your purpose, passion, and your other relevant points within the oration can help give your speech purpose and clear direction. Preparation is something that every single speech has to go through, whether it be an impromptu speech or perhaps a more refined oration. Most of us recognize the fact that preparation is necessary. One cannot simply walk into a room without a speech at hand and simply say what's on their mind. Preparation means giving your ideas that clear structure, that clear framework that you as a speaker can easily grasp onto. Preparation is when you open that document, begin writing out your list of notes, your speech itself, your main points. One of the most common misconceptions about preparing a speech is that it has to be written word by word. The opposite is probably true. This is because when you're speaking, it is generally advised to merely list down main points or sections, rather than merely blurting out the entire paragraphs. This leads us to the next important section, or the fourth P. Practice. You may have heard practice makes perfect, and that is certainly true, especially for new or aspiring speakers. What I found is that once you prepared your speech, integrated the purpose and passion, practice involves delivering your speech. Now, a common misconception I find about practicing is that it has to be in front of a mirror, or possibly done in an old-fashioned manner in front of an entire audience. Your goal in the fourth P, practice, the fourth stage of public speaking, is to remember and create an easy-to-follow framework for your mind, and in that way deliver your speech with strength and intensity. For instance, if I am delivering an interview for a potential job, practicing would possibly be recording mock answers in front of the camera. Practice also involves reviewing those answers or that speech to constructively improve and to build off of that skill set. Because practicing is possibly one of the most important elements. Many great speakers practice their speech daily. Many CEOs lock themselves up in their office and recite their speech or pitch over and over again until they nail down every single small and minor point. Now, you don't have to go that extreme, obviously, but practicing involves doing a conscious effort to improve and better your speech as a whole. Last-minute revisions would usually be made in this stage as well. And now, the fifth and final P, performance. This is pretty self-explanatory. When you're performing, you aren't necessarily performing in the literal sense, but you are delivering that speech, doing that action, sitting for that interview. It is at this moment when that practice, that speech you've practiced that integrates your purpose and passion comes in full force. You could say that performance is the ultimate culmination of your hard work. Because at the end, the way I like to remember it is not as a strict set of guidelines, but as a framework or pipeline. You first start off by identifying your purpose. What do you want your audience to take away from that presentation? Next, you go into that passion, that individuality that gives your speech personality strength and that touch of influence. Then comes in the preparation, finding the resources, doing the research, and ultimately writing out that set of notes, guideline, or written speech. Then comes the practice, delivering your speech in front of a recording, an iPhone, to a friend, a family member. All in all, bettering your speech as a whole, and at the same time, understanding the last-minute revisions and making your speech the best it can be. Finally comes performance. After those months of practicing, it is now time to deliver the hard work to an actual audience. This structure is not something that is meant to be perfected. It is okay if you deliver an imperfect speech. There is no such thing as the perfect speech or the perfect oration. The 5 P's of public speaking are meant to give direction, acting as a compass of sorts if you are unsure of how to proceed or how to structure your oration. Because at the end, public speaking is a nuanced and complex topic. It is something that can be improved like most other skills, but one may find it easy to have a structure or guideline when planning their next speech. And that's why, remember the 5 P's: purpose, passion, preparation, practice, and performance. And if you remember that, you will surely deliver a great speech. Once again, if you've enjoyed this video and do feel that the 5 P's of public speaking are an invaluable framework for your next speech, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Otherwise, have a great day.